Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We are so glad you are here on this Friday. Just want to remind you, if you feel so inclined, we look at Fridays as a fasting Friday. Fasting, again, is a time when you give up something that you depend on or something that you need, maybe even you feel you need, or something that you enjoy that takes up time. You give it up, and instead, during the time that you would have spent doing that, you'd spend focused time with the Lord, which could be through prayer, could be through reading the Bible. Why do we do this? It's a spiritual discipline. It's to remind us to be dependent on God, right? And typically in Bible times, it would have been food, right? Because you would physically feel the hunger pains, and that would be a reminder of, yes, I need food to nourish me, but what's more important is spiritual nourishment. Anything you want to add to that, Pastor?
Well, I think just going off of yesterday's Daily Dose on be careful what you think about.
Wow, yeah.
There is something about fasting that just is a cleanse. You know, have you ever done a
restart button?
Exactly, a restart button.
I love that.
And so just like a food cleanse, I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it cleanses out all the toxins and things like that.
We've done that before. Be close to a restroom. Anyway, sorry, too much.
So with that though, fasting is a spiritual cleanse just getting rid of all the ick and junk that maybe that this world has tried to get at you and try to have you dwell on.
That brings up great ideas for what you might fast. Now, food, obviously, food's a great one. Because you'll physically have reminders throughout the day to spend time with the Lord. But it could be social media.
Yeah.
We actually talked about in our small group on Wednesday nights at Life Night at Shrewsbury Assembly. I encourage you to check it out. They just started, so hit us up. Wednesdays at 6:30, groups for everyone.
Yeah.
This little promo plug.
See what you did.
But anyway, in our group, we were just literally talking about this fasting social media or fasting, because those can really affect your thoughts.
Or a news that you're watching.
But that's not even what we're talking about today.
No.
Okay, that's just fasting. Encourage you to fast.
Okay.
Maybe you're fasting right now, and in place of what you would normally be doing, you're doing the Daily Dose. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to read a verse to you, real short, and we want to talk a little bit about how we've thought about this with our own children, right? It's found in Acts 17, verse 28. It says, by his power, right? Who are we talking about, right? By his power, we live and move and exist. Wow. Now, we were just reminiscing about our kids. Our kids are a little older now, although they can still do this. But I remember when Uriah and Malia were real tiny. And if you've had children or grandchildren, kids around, I remember when they get to the age where they started to want to have some independence. And we create midget children, we've discovered, like very miniature, like normal sized child, our child, right? They're just small.
Sure.
Yeah, but anyway.
So right around like the year and a half to 2.
When they can talk back a little bit.
And they can start
toddle.
walking. Yep.
I remember they would get to the stage where they wanted to go up the stairs on their own, right? And I remember Uriah one time, he's like, no, I do it. Like that's all.
I do it myself.
I do myself. Yeah. And so he was trying to go up the stairs, and I literally had a moment. I paused and I'm like, Nabil, the stair is literally half his height. Like he's trying to climb a mountain. But so help if we tried to help.
That's right. Yeah.
But that attitude of like, I can do it myself.
Yeah. And we can have that same attitude towards God.
Oh.
Have you ever been there?
Are you there?
Are you there?
Where are you there?
Yeah.
We're all there, Pastor.
We are.
In different areas of our life.
Yeah. And think about that for you. What areas in your life have you not released to God and said, God, I give you control over this area of my life? It could be your thought life. It could be a certain habit. It could be an area in your life that you thought that you've released, but you've known that you haven't released to God.
I think a different way to ask that very same question is, what areas of your life are you doing on your own, in your own strength? I remember a conversation you had several years ago at a different church in a different city with a gentleman that we were very close to, and he was in a small group with us, and we did life together, talked about our Christian faith together, all that. And I remember one time you met with him and he was talking about his job, and he had a very high stress job.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying to you, what do you mean? Like, how do I live out my faith at work? Like, it was such a beautiful, honest question.
Yeah.
Like he had never considered how God would factor into his day-to-day job. Like, no, that's clearly what I do. Like I go to work and I do it, and and I loved his heart because he's really like, help me here. He hadn't even considered that God can be a part of that. But some of us go into our job and we think, okay, I have to do this. This is my responsibility. I have to do this on my own. Or parenting, I'm just going to do my best. I'm going to read a book, right? Or our finances. Oh, I'm so overwhelmed, but I'm just going to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
But this verse is saying it's by his power that we live and we move and we exist. It's actually as we grow in our faith, we become more dependent on God. We start very independent prior to faith. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to think whatever I want. I'm going to go wherever I want, spend my money however I want, act however I want. And probably when you came to faith, you were very much like me. You realized that's not working.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah, I've done it on my own, right? But as we grow in our faith, we actually say, you know what? I'm not going to make that decision on my own anymore. I'm not going to try to do that on my own anymore. I'm going to depend on God. So what areas in our life, in your life, are you doing on your own that God never intended you to go through on your own?
That's right. You know, and going back to the situation you were saying, that gentleman that I was talking to, he's a high capacity leader. And he's somebody that's like, he's a go-getter, a type A. You know, so for him, he's
very
like,
qualified to handle a lot of things.
For him, he was like, hey, I'm doing this. It's my effort. It's my this. It's my this. My. And really what he needed to realize is the giftings and the things that he has in him that are from God and not really from him. And that really shifts. And for him, I'm so thankful of the honesty that he had, because as I was talking to him, his countenance changed.
It's like a release of that pressure.
He's like, oh.
Like, wait, I can go to God for strength. I can go to God for wisdom. I can go to God for helping make decisions, even at work, or how to interact with employees. He oversaw a lot of employees. So consider that today. Maybe even as you fast today, spend time talking to the Lord. Lord, what areas in my life have I been approaching independently? Have I been looking at, okay, I'm going to handle this? And maybe those areas are areas of pain even. You're like, God, you have access to everything, but this, I'm just going to hold on to this. I'm not ready to give that pain up. I'm not ready to move forward. Give it to God today. And ask God to invade that area and to give you strength, freedom, deliverance from that area potentially as well.
Amen. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Daily Dose
for spiritual growth.